Hello, everyone. I believe we are live now. So, welcome to another live session for Investing with a Difference. Again, I would like to thank you for your support and growing this channel's popularity. We have been focusing on EOS for quite some time. Let me remind you that we will definitely add more and more coins and more crypto projects and also stocks which we have planned for originally. But at this moment, the biggest thing which we believe is happening in investment world, in the crypto world, is EOS, and we strongly believe in the project, and that's why we are spending all our energy on that. First thing is this session today is focused on the basics of EOS. We are getting a lot of questions on YouTube. We are listening to comments. We are also looking at various channels, and we are really not happy that there is a missing knowledge about basic EOS tokens, how the EOS project works, and first of all, we are going to talk about what every investor needs to know. For example, what are your tokens, whether they are frozen, what is happening. So let me give you a very quick background. So EOS is a project which started, like the ICO started last year. So this is very different from every other ICO. So if you go to eosscan.io, they had been tracking how much money they raised. So they had a very long 1 year long ICO, and this was on Ethereum. So very important thing to note. So I will go very slowly, and I want everybody to understand this. So this was Ethereum chain. So Ethereum has this ERC20 based tokens, and most of the ICOs are launched on Ethereum. And these tokens which you had and people bought in ICO, or if you bought it on exchange, they were all ERC20. And those are the tokens which were frozen on June 2nd. Now, this is our the Explorer, which gives you what is the final frozen EOS token account. If you go to the holders tab, you can see who owns each token. So as you can see, there are 331,000 total EOS holders according to this, and that is the number of people who have EOS tokens in their account. And this is going to be like very important for you to understand that this chain is frozen. This particular contract, which was EOS ERC20 token, it is frozen. Nobody can trade it. Now, a lot of people are asking what is happening on exchanges. Why is EOS trading? Why is it losing value while the chain is frozen? You need to understand that these are big wallets. So if you look at the top 10, this was a lot of coverage on it. A lot of people complaining about these big wallets here. So these are actually the big wallets, which are maybe exchange wallets. I believe this is one of the big exchange wallets. We are going to look into details of this. But they can trade within themselves. So how the exchange works, they have, let's say, 1 million people who are using the exchange. Now, out of these 75 million tokens, they will create their own internal databases of who owns how many, and they can keep moving them around. This is very similar to, in a crypto world, what you call a side chain. Even though they are not running on blockchain, these are traditional world centralized databases, and that's what they are doing right now. So whatever value, whatever price you're seeing, that is based on whoever is willing to pay how much. So you need to understand the price of the token is all about market dynamics, who is willing to pay, who is willing to sell. So all this, it has nothing to do with blockchain. So since June 2nd till now, till mainnet is live, in reality on blockchain, EOS is frozen and you cannot really move them around. So whatever valuation you're seeing is all about what people are willing to pay. Value has nothing to do with the actual market cap of EOS, because that will depend on when the mainnet is launched and what when the blockchain is launched. Right now, it is all intra-wallet trading. Now, the second part many people are asking is the registration part. I think, as you understand, now there was a process for these tokens to move to EOS mainnet, and that was a registration process. But irrespective of registration, because this is now a very easily recoverable process, if you had your tokens in this wallet on ERC20, and if you are on this frozen list of wallets, you can always recover using fallback mechanism. So whether your tokens were in, you were using a Mu wallet like Myther wallet, or you were using Exodus. Again, I think let me take another step back and talk about basics, because a lot of people don't understand it. the wallets itself is in crypto world, they do not hold coins. So what is a token, and what is the meaning of that? That means that there is a listing on the blockchain that this particular address holds this many tokens. Wallet is only a way to access that token. So you do not really get tokens into your private wallet. You only get the keys. So you're storing keys, and it's like emails. Like, for example, you have a Gmail account. You only can hold or you write down your password and username. The mails are all on the server of Google. Similarly, in a blockchain world, the tokens themselves reside on blockchain and they are in a distributed manner, but you only contain your keys in a wallet. So that is very, very important thing you need to understand, because a lot of people are asking, how do I receive airdrops? How I have my private keys, I can't see airdrops. Whether another question is whether Exodus people will get airdrops, whether my Ether wallet people will get airdrops. I just want to clarify to everybody who is listening, wallets don't receive airdrops. The blockchain address, a particular address, will receive airdrop. And now wallets are only a way to access. So if you are part of this snapshot, if which is translated into the mainnet from the ERC20 to mainnet, and those snapshots have been made available. EOS authority has created pages, and if you go to their site, they have tools to confirm. There are a lot of EOS countdown. A lot of other websites have created tools for you to validate how to check your tokens. So use those tools, and you need to understand that once you're on that, that means all the Genesis snapshot airdrops you will be getting, and those are the only people who can vote. So all the EOS mainnet features are available to those people who are on the mainnet, who are not part of like, it doesn't matter whether you bought the tokens now on Binance Exchange. It doesn't matter whether you have the tokens which were you sold earlier, or a lot of other things. So now the question is whether you own your private keys, whether you have them available with you, and that is the only thing which matters now going forward. So next question which everybody's asking is when my tokens are going to be available. So now what you mean by available is when the tokens will be unlocked or unstaked. So let us go back and into look at the EOS Flare account, and what I have been showing everybody. So this is why I opened up this account. I will talk about it later, but this is just an example. It's a pretty huge wallet. They have millions of EOS tokens, and so right now most of the token, even for if you own millions of tokens, all of your tokens are staked. Only 10 were unstaked. You can use those 10 tokens to do a lot of things other than transferring them out. You cannot send it to anybody. Transactions are still not available. You cannot send it to exchange because exchanges don't even have it listed because mainnet is not active. Now, so when you say when are my tokens going to be available, they will be available when this mainnet is launched, when the voting is completed. So again, the voting is still 8.8%. We have to reach 15%. And when this happens, after that, you can unstake these. So right now they are staked. You can unstake these tokens, and you can start after the unstake process completes. Then you can actually make transactions. You can send them out, and that is how it is going to work out. Now, one more thing you need to understand is EOS is so let's now talk about next level. So before we go into the usage of EOS, how EOS will work, please feel free to ask any questions you have about tokens, about airdrops. So a quick look at airdrops themselves. Let me show you one of the update from EOS Tribe. So this is a very good graphics from EOS Tribe. They posted on Twitter. So these are the, like, for example, this is the Genesis snapshot. Again, if you had your tokens on the Genesis snapshot, as per your verification on various tools provided by community, you will be receiving many of these airdrops. Now, some of these are interestingly dropping them on ERC20 wallet. That means you are again going to go back to your Ethereum wallet, which is associated with your EOS tokens. And those are the one which are going to use. For example, let me show you, I think, some of them. It doesn't show all of them. So I think this is a list of tokens which are going to come on your EOS wallet. So there is another list which somebody needs to prepare. So I think there are a few tokens which we got: EOS DAC, EOS. I think what are the other ones? The Meet.1, and another one which we got is Eon. I'm hearing. So some of these are on ERC20, and those are already will going to be airdropped on this. Evolution is another one, which was a branch. They are dropping on ERC20. Now, what do you have to do? I think that each airdrop is different. Most of these Genesis snapshot airdrops, they don't want you to do anything. You don't have to claim many of them, because they will automatically come to your EOS private key and your wallet. So now when you say which wallet I can use to access them, that is not clear yet, but you will get them. They will be there in your account on the blockchain. Now, which wallet can access them is a totally different question. Whether you have Exodus, whether you have been using MyEther wallet to access your Ethereum keys or Ethereum wallet, those will not be able to access EOS. EOS will have a totally separate wallet. And as I explained earlier, EOS, like when you access tokens, you're accessing on the blockchain through an interface, which is wallet. And the wallet itself does not contain anything. So any wallet should be able to access your airdrops, and you do not have to worry about which wallet will support it, because then once the EOS chain is active, once these airdrops come, most of these will be airdropping directly on EOS. And it's all about whether you can see them. And I believe the best place to see them initially will be on something like this, where you can actually access your blockchain information registered with your account. What are the transactions happening? Just like we can track ERC20 tokens on the Explorer, there are more and more tools coming now by the community where you can start seeing these tokens. So these are some of the basics I wanted to cover. I don't see many questions right now, so I hope a lot of people who are still wondering what is happening, it is clear now that how the tokens are working between ERC20 and EOS. Again, a quick note on exchanges. Binance has started giving some updates that they are going to support airdrops, but there is no clarity on what will be the snapshot date chosen. I'm assuming the snapshot date will be same, that if you're buying now, and if they are not going to give you airdrops. So this is how I think most of the people are still confused. So again, I have nothing to say about exchanges, because there is very limited information on how they are deciding on airdrops, whether it will really happen. Even Binance is saying that they are opening up these airdrops, but they don't know whether each of these projects will support them. They are putting the responsibility on the projects. So this is how it's going to be. Now, there are a few questions trickling in. So let me quickly have a look at what people are asking. So it's a future of EOS. I don't exactly understand what you mean by that. So I think future of EOS is all depending upon how many people launch the apps. So again, I will refer to this particular graphic. So you see so many airdrops. All of these are most of them are DApps, which is distributed applications, which are going to run on EOS. And EOS, so how it works. So now let's go back to this. So when you have certain EOS tokens, you can use that to access memory, CPU, or network bandwidth. Now, as you see that this account has a huge amount of tokens, so they are allocated very big amount of bandwidth, which is 1.95 terabyte, 4.73 days worth of CPU, and 7.96 memory. So right now the tokens are staked, and it is divided across bandwidth and CPU 50-50. But you can also use tokens to buy memory. Right now, the memory itself is not allocated to the tokens using the stake tokens. So by staking, you can get a CPU and bandwidth, but memory has to be bought. So you have to actually spend EOS to buy memory. The CPU and bandwidth, which are reusable, those are actually going to be allocated based on your staking. So this is how the EOS will work. Now, what is the future of EOS is that every time an app has to use the network and the CPU, they will have to stake the proportional number of EOS. And as more and more EOS is locked, that defines your value of EOS, because less and less will be available for trading, and more DApps will come up, and they will need these tokens to stake or to buy memory. and to create accounts and so on. And that is how the EOS value will increase. That's the future of EOS, if I answer your question correctly. Now, while I'm at this account, let me highlight you what is happening. Why I opened this account, because this account looks like it belongs to one of the exchanges, which is also a block producer candidate. So ZB is a Chinese exchange, and they're also ZB EOS BP, and they voted for themselves. So they have a huge token base of what 1.17 million EOS, and they just voted for single block producer, that is themselves. So this is interesting. So I would say was expected. Not many exchanges have voted, but this is one look at how the whales are responding. Bitfinex is actually being appreciated right now because they are looking for asking people that what they should do and how they are collecting votes from people and so on. But I don't know how they will do it, because it's a huge wallet. If Bitfinex has, it's very difficult for them to define like a smaller stake or which they can vote for based on how many people choose. But this is one example of, I would call it like not really ethical here, but it is according to the constitution. You can do that. You can hoard a huge amount of tokens. Now in this case, ZB is an exchange, and they don't really own this themselves. These are from the accounts they have got, and individual people own these tokens, but they ended up voting. And we would like to understand from community how this is going to be avoided in future. Dan Larimer had put some ideas about proxy voting, where they can create an interface where people are delegating their votes through exchange to others. But I think this is one thing which you need to understand. All right, so more questions. Is there any tutorial to show how to vote step by step for dummies? I think there are a lot of videos coming up now, as I will try to post them in this video link. Some of them we trust. For example, Greymass is one of them, which is a very, very easy tool. It's kind of endorsed by a lot of block producers to be safe. We would recommend Greymass tool to everybody because that is something which is very easy to use, and we have some of our community members have used it. Is there any place we can look not using our private key? I don't understand your question. So this is exactly the place I'm showing you, usflare.io. You can look through all the transactions, what is happening with your account without putting private key. Remember, all the information is public. Anybody can look at any account using public keys. So you never enter your private key for accessing information. Only enter your private key when you're accessing your rights, like either voting rights or you're transferring tokens or withdrawing something. It's like bank, where you have the power to withdraw by signing or writing a check. But anybody who has access to the accounts, which is banks are not of course public information, but in blockchain world, all your tokens are public. Anybody can see which account has what tokens. Maybe the account itself, nobody knows who it belongs to, but it's not very difficult to find out. As we figured out, we could easily find out that this is an exchange, and they are actually, because they voted for themselves, and that made it very clear that these are actually exchange wallet, and this is the amount of tokens they voted for. All right, so any thoughts on rumors that Bitfinex might jump at any time and place the remaining votes needed to unlock the chain? Bitfinex has been actually very, very active in the community. They are trying to be transparent. They're actually asking their users to confirm how they should vote and so on. And as I said, they also created a voting portal. So yes, it might happen, and things are moving very fast now. So let me go back and see what is the status now, and let me reload, or maybe we can look at the US network monitor. So 59.6%, so 88.9 million votes have been casted. It is moving very fast since today morning, I would say. And so this can happen, the 100% can happen very fast. So again, this tool is tracking 100% of 150 million. EOS authority is tracking the total vote, so it doesn't matter. What you need to look at is that 150 million votes should happen, and that is about 89 million have happened already out of the 150 million. All right, so what are the other questions? What are the benefits of block producers? So block producers are like miners. So you need to understand, if you are already aware of how the mining works, like people have been mining Bitcoin for a very long time, that is proof of work. In proof of stake based mechanisms, block producers are the kind of miners, but they are delegated people chosen by voting, and they are actually only 21 who are going to be mining and validating the blocks. Now, benefits for them are they are going to be paid. They are going to pay it by inflation. What does it mean is there will be a new tokens created. Every year, there are around 1% which are going to be used for paying these block producers. And there are another set of 4% per year uh, for voting proposals. They can be used as per the democratic decisions by the block producers and the community. There will be a lot more voting happening on EOS. It's going to be a very similar to our civic systems. It's not like a typical blockchain like Ethereum. You cannot make decisions on how this works, but in EOS, the voting will decide the rules and some of these key governance items. All right. What are the benefits of EOS block? Okay, this is already covered. How do we create usernames? So usernames can be created by either you have to be using a command line command CLEOS, that is command line EOS node and wallet that can be used to create accounts. There are some new tools being created, but I think Scatter is one of the leading candidate which is actually offering this. So let me open the Scatter site. If I can reach there. Scatter actually is allowing the Chrome extension. So if you open this Scatter wallet, and so I'm not going to unlock it here, but they have a way to create more and more accounts, and you can create a new key pair with a new account. They were charging 1 EOS for it. I think 1 EOS for every account. I don't know if somebody has used them. You can comment here, but what I'm seeing here is that the cost for buying RAM for creating one account is very low. So let's see. These are some of the accounts which these guys are creating. For example, ZB is creating ZB EOS Charge 5 and so on, and they are buying this RAM. And that is actually not very expensive, it looks like. They have only spent less than 4 tokens to buy a lot of accounts. So if you see here, they are creating a lot of accounts. In yesterday's video, I showed another account which was creating hundreds and hundreds of usernames and accounts. So a lot of people are already doing this. Mostly these are people who are either pretty big whales or somebody who is trying to reserve the real estate like names, like emails. You want a very good email name at Gmail or something, you create an account very fast. So this is just like that. So EOS usernames will be maybe traded at some point. These guys will try to create a market out of it. There is also a bidding for some different names. So right now the usernames can only be 12 digits. So you need to understand, when I say digits, I mean 12 characters. So you can use alphanumeric. You can have like a 12 character long names. That is the restrictions. It's not going to be any name. But for the premium names, like B1 is block 1 username. So let's go back and look at B1 account. So that is assigned. So they have been given a special name, which is just B1 as account name. That is block.1. And they have not made any transactions. As you can see, they have not voted. So you can track them easily. You can always remember B1. Now, this is a special privilege. And the plan for EOS is they will raise funds for to counter the inflation. So as we talked about inflation, 1% tokens will be given to block producers. You can actually burn the tokens when you raise money, giving these special names to people who are going to bid for it. And that is another way of how this governance will work. All right. So another questions on Binance. So yes, as I said, Binance is supporting some airdrops. They have declared IQ, DAC, and EON. I don't believe in it because DAC, if they are referring to EOS DAC, that's the only DAC I know. They have already burned the tokens which were not claimed by exchanges, and they are putting responsibility back on the projects, which is again, like they're not really showing intent that they really want to support them. They're not even confirming that these tokens will be listed. So Binance is still not working out to be the best for EOS. There are a lot of other airdrops coming. There is no confirmation on those. The good thing, though, is that IQ token, which I believe is the most valuable out of the current airdrops, that is confirmed to be supported. So that's a good sign. So that's a quick update on Binance. But go back, watch my yesterday's video, which I uploaded, which has more details. So we already talked about inflation. What does that mean? I already talked about it. What is the use case of voting? Are we getting anything in return? So this is like, what are you getting in return? You are getting a say in the system. If you're a small token holder and if you believe that your vote is not important, this is very similar to when you go and vote for your local elections. You can always say, I'm just one person, whether it matters. And ultimately, the collective voice matters. And this is a community-based project. EOS is going to be continuously being tracked as a it's going to be the only way EOS is decentralized is because people can vote, and if you don't use your rights, or if you don't really contribute, then it can very well become a centralized project. So it's in all our benefit to vote. Of course, I know that many people are concerned about security right now, and I myself recommended not to vote initially because there was no clarity on security of these voting tools. But as more and more block producers are reviewing, and as I said, Grey Mass is a tool which we have used within our teams, and of course, we will not know the security, because if somebody gets a phishing attack or somebody really loses his keys, you will only know when mainnet is launched and tokens are unstaked. But I would recommend when that happens, whenever mainnet is launched and it is unstaked, everybody should try to create a new safe pair of keys and transfer your tokens to that if you're worried about where all you have shared your keys. But again, as I said, EOS is a very, very powerful arbitration mechanism. Also, things can be reversed. If somebody is phishing on the Grey Mass kind of a tool, which is supported by community, I'm sure they will find a way to reverse those transactions, or they will try to lock those wallets who are attacked. So I'm actually getting more and more confidence in this Grey Mass tool, because it's now supported by BPs, and they are going to be defining the uh, arbitration panels and how this chain will work. So you need to understand that uh, always go with wallets, or always go with the specific tools which a community is suggesting, rather than trusting one or two promoters of a tool. So again, questions coming about my registered EOS are in Mu. Guys, again, I will like to repeat many times, your tokens are nowhere. Your tokens are in the blockchain. So you just have access to them through the ERC20 tokens were available through Mu interface, that is my Ether wallet interface. They were on, so these tokens are now useless. So whoever is talking about these tokens which are on Ether wallet, those are actually no longer valid tokens. Their purpose is completed. These tokens are now created on EOS and EOS mainnet, and that's where you will now access your tokens. So this thing is now dead project. A lot of other, I'm not going to talk about EOS Classic and so on, which is trying to recreate these tokens and use the ERC20 chain and whatnot. That's a totally different subject. Let's take it outside today's video. But for all practical purposes, this token is purpose was to create this final list of EOS holders, which is the snapshot, which is used for now allowing you on the mainnet on EOS, and that's how this project is starting. All right. So what else, guys? Can EOS coin be more than 1 billion? No limit. Yes, there is no hard limit. As inflation is built into the system, it can grow. But I think there are proposals to burn these extra coins by using this voting proposals. So this is very much in flux. And we believe that if EOS gets to its, it fulfills its potential. So let's go and have a look at the EOS white paper. So you need to understand that EOS is going to be the only blockchain which can scale up to millions of users. It's the biggest feature of this is free usage. Right now, every time we send a transaction on Ethereum, we have to pay the gas. Low latency, very, very big feature. We are so used to this crypto world where we have to wait for confirmations for minutes or for hours sometimes. EOS is the only blockchain which can provide you immediate confirmations within a second. That's the level of fast response. You will not be waiting and wondering what happened to your transaction when you send it from one wallet to another. A lot of other things. So if it realizes potential which EOS has created, once these DApps are running, more and more DApps keep coming and using these tokens and staking them, you will very quickly run out of 1 billion tokens. Remember that. So I'm not worried about 1% inflation, which is not big. But I think, yes, to answer to your question in simple words, yes, there is no hard limit. Again, it will be all defined by governance model, which is coming up in EOS, and there is nothing frozen. All right, guys, what else is coming on questions? If I buy EOS tokens on Binance now, will they register them? So registration is gone. So again, let me repeat that again. If you buy on Binance, you are buying from the frozen wallet. Those are already registered. So there is no real blockchain activity happening. There is no registration happening. There is no withdrawals possible right now. All the ERC20 tokens are frozen. All the mainnet tokens are not activated. They're all staked. And so whatever you're doing on Binance right now, they are trading, they are making a lot of money by selling, by making people buy and sell to each other. That is all Binance thing. There's nothing to do with EOS. There's nothing to do with blockchain. That is not real EOS tokens. Those are just entries within Binance's own internal system, in a centralized system where they are moving tokens. So let's assume that one of these wallets is Binance. Now, what they're doing is, out of their 53 million tokens, they're just telling, now they're changing the allocation of these tokens to each holder. So they are registered tokens. We don't know. So definitely you will get the mainnet tokens automatically, because Binance is going to get all these tokens converted, and they can just give the tokens to the right people who finally owns it in their systems. But airdrops, there is no understanding of which airdrops will be supported. Definitely, if you're buying now, there is not even the new airdrops which they announced, they will support. They may not come to you because they may decide to give this to people who held it on the snapshot date. So it's a very, very difficult process to tell, because it's a Binance decision. They will definitely get the tokens or airdrops or everything, because they contain a certain wallet which is registered, and which is going to receive everything, mainnet tokens, airdrops, and so on. So I cannot answer for Binance, but if you're buying now, the only thing guaranteed is that you will get mainnet tokens, and there is no guarantee of anything else. So the next question is, if I take my EOS out of MetaMask, will I still get airdrops? First of all, your MetaMask does not contain your tokens. Your EOS ERC20 blockchain contained the tokens. The Ethereum blockchain had your listing of the token. That cannot be taken out now. That is frozen, and you cannot move those tokens. And now, if you were already registered them, or you were part of the snapshot, then you will get the airdrops. Now, and one more important thing is, nobody can move tokens right now unless the mainnet is activated, and the mainnet tokens can be moved, but not the ERC20 tokens. What else, guys? I bought my token on EOS. What do I do? Just wait for now. I don't know what you mean by I bought my tokens on EOS. All inflated coins go to BPs. Yes, so block producer rewards are the only reason that inflation exists. Otherwise, there is no other inflation need. What else? Is ERC20 sidechain? I would say you need to read more about it. So let me not go into those base. ERC20 is an Ethereum-based chain. So if you're not into cryptos, if you only know EOS, I can understand this question. But if you are in cryptos, I think, and you're trading other coins also, you need to really have a look at basics of ERC20 before you buy any more. Because if you don't understand that, it is going to be very difficult for you to not get scammed. So if your tokens are on Binance, we just wait for now. That's right. You have no option. You can sell and exit, but you cannot do anything. The only thing you can do right now is just wait if you are in for long term. Other than that, you cannot do anything. How are the top exchanges trading EOS right now? As I said many times, I have answered this question in this video. Exchanges have their own centralized systems. When there is a big wallet of exchange here, so as we already talked about, so let's have a look at this exchange again, which we looked at. So this was the token 1.176 million tokens, which one of the exchanges, ZB in China, they have. Now, if I want to go back and see who has this, maybe we can find it easily if we go into this EOS token holders, who holds a exactly this amount on the frozen chain. and you will be able to figure that out. And that will tell you now within these wallets, the ZB exchange can allocate anybody any number of tokens. That's how they're trading, because they make commissions when a trade happened. So they don't care. They will keep assigning these tokens to each other, and that's how they will keep trading. So there's nothing to do with blockchain. There's nothing to do with the real EOS tokens. It's all about an internal transfer within that one exchange. All right, what other questions? If I'm missing a question, please repeat your question. I don't think I'm able to keep track of all the comments here. I heard of EOS when it started, but knew nothing about it. If I knew that, Dan Lemmer would have. Okay, all these are just comments. Can we mine 4 EOS coins? No, you cannot. Nobody can mine. It's EOS is proof of stake. It's not a proof of work, and you cannot really create new tokens. These are all defined in the constitution, how many tokens when you can claim, how the new tokens are created. All this is already defined, and nobody else can mine it. How can we add another layer of security? I don't understand exactly what you mean here. So I have a question. There will be an incentive mechanism for voters to elect qualified BPs. The incentive is that you are building a stronger community and you are increasing the value for yourself. If you don't have a good set of BPs, then the EOS value will not increase as much as it should. The good BPs will promote the ecosystem. They will enable your DApps. They will make sure they invest in infrastructure. They will make sure that they keep this blockchain secure. So that is the incentive you have. But if you say that I don't want to contribute to BPs, then or not voting, you can very well do that and let the rest of the community decide. What else, guys? So quickly again, look at the voting. We are still moving ahead with the 59.4%. The new discussions around Bitfinex voting or some other people, I would say that can really make this process very fast. I'm expecting now best case is the next 24 hours, or worst case, I would say definitely within the next 48 hours, we should have a mainnet activated. Once that is activated, no, you can still you cannot withdraw your tokens. Remember that if you are in a hurry to withdraw, there's no need to withdraw. They are safe as long as your private key is safe. So be very careful. And what I would say is that all your tokens are staked. You can unstake them only if you are willing. You're planning to transfer them out, moving into an exchange and sell them. If you're planning to hold them for long, actually the stake token is better than unstaked, because that keeps them locked for 3 days. So that is the one comment I would like to make. So don't really be in a hurry to use wallets. I'm expecting this whole mainnet to launch within next 2 days in the worst case, the way the voting is going. Can we whitelist our withdrawals? I don't understand the questions. If you're talking about as staking or unstaking, yes, that's how you will do it. Once the mainnet is active, you will have commands. Most of the wallets should support a unstaking command, and that's how you will first unstake them. And then once the unstaking is complete, then only you will be able to withdraw. So if you have actually used Steemit, many of you, I hope, have used Steemit. And if Steemit, you know that there is, if you have a Steem Power, which is usually a way of staking, when if you try to withdraw it, there is a slow process. They release only, I think, every week or so, a certain number of tokens, 10%, or I don't remember exact numbers, but you can withdraw only a certain amount. That's how it gets unstaked slowly. In EOS, I think what I understand is you can stake all of them, and you can stake them or unstake them, all of them. So it's very similar. But if you're not used Steemit, this will be a new experience for you, where your tokens are not always available to move around. There will be incentives for staking. So now, okay, people are talking about incentives for voting, but there will be incentive for staking. So what does that mean? Staking will give you access to CPU and bandwidth. And as you can see here, if you are running your own DApp, or if you are doing some work on EOS, you will be able to use your tokens to either stake for CPU or stake for bandwidth. Right now it is 50-50. So by default, they have allocated half of the tokens for CPU and half for bandwidth. And that is the power of staking. That will be your incentive. Now, if you're not running any DApp, and if you are just an investor, you can delegate your bandwidth. So you will have certain bandwidth allocated, You can delegate it to another person, another account, and that will, you can actually make money on that. And that will be how it will work. This is going to be the usage of EOS. This is one of the reason you need to understand EOS is a utility token. It is not a currency. You can use it as a currency to trade with each other. Binance, when you trade on Binance, that is actually you're using it for as a currency. You're trying to make money out of it. In reality, why it is actually also safe in longer run from SEC or anybody else is because it is designed to be a utility token. It is designed for getting bandwidth on a network, and it is a community-driven project. So, okay, let me answer one question here, which nobody's asking. Why all this pain? Why do we have to wait for block producers? Why do we have to go through this whole voting process? It is so painful. It is taking such a long time. Now, you need to understand, this is how a typical um, utility token should work. This is why EOS is not going to be classified as a security. This is why they should not come under SEC regulation, because EOS is a community-driven token. They have allocated it based on the support from people, and they have clearly they are just used a snapshot from ERC20, but actually they're starting fresh. They're creating a new set of tokens, which has nothing to do with direct. There's no directly monetary association other than the snapshot list to these tokens. And now these tokens are going to be used for CPU and bandwidth, and they are not going to be used for. And you will earn the rents or whatever you are going. However, this community will work. When you actually stake them, you will actually be making EOS in return. And now the only place where it gets converted into money and some reward is when you go into to an exchange and sell it for US dollars. The other thing is you can use these tokens to buy memory. You can the RAM, and this will be another real estate on EOS blockchain. So we will talk about it in future, but this is going to be another way people will trade, and maybe this memory price will keep going up. So right now it's a marketplace price is low because very few people know how to do it. Very few tools are available. But as this becomes common, this will be another real estate. And what does that memory means? So you can either just buy memory and keep it, or you can use memory to create usernames. The usernames will be there will be a trading market for username. You can create some popular names just like people do it for web domains. You can go buy a web domain, and you can sell it later to somebody else. So there are a lot of possibilities on EOS. You will be able to rent your tokens. You will be able to buy memory to go and later on sell it. So there are a lot of speculations which can be done on the network. There will be a lot of ways you can actually make your tokens available, and they will be staked and used for actual resources. But if you use it as a cryptocurrency, you can always just take them out and put it in exchange. You can unstake them and go ahead and sell and buy. So these are the various things which will happen. And the interesting thing which is happening is refunds. Now, this is something which is very unique to EOS. They are building mechanisms where EOS can be refunded if you have some problems. I'm still trying to understand that, but I think the arbitration is one way, and some people who got scammed, they are getting, or one of the things why this refund is there, because some people by mistake sent the EOS tokens to a crowd sale address, and this is what happened in like Ethereum and some other ICOs. People were sent by mistake sending their tokens back to the ICO crowd sale addresses, and they never got them back. For example, if you send the Ethereum to address 000, that Ethereum is lost forever. In EOS, there is a way you can recover those and that's where the refund will show up. So this is one of the things which EOS has implemented. Maybe they will use it for other ways, like based on how this refund mode will be used. I don't know exactly, but these are mostly returns from the system. When you're paying to the system, I think the system can actually refund you if there is a mistake, or if there is a proof that if there was a genuine problem which created this issue. So a lot of things to learn, I would say, a lot of things to understand. If you're in it for trading, you only care for your tokens, you can go withdraw them, you can trade them just like people do. But if you really understand the potential of EOS, I think it is actually the tokens are a tool to really invest in more than just currency, but as a bandwidth and CPU for a very, very strong blockchain with all these features we talked about, where it can provide you a real world use cases. and this is why we are excited about it. So what else, guys? Any other questions? How do you stake EOS? So as I said, right now all are staked automatically, and in future there will be tools. I'm sure the wallets which are going to be developed will have tools to stake them, to delegate them. There are a lot of other features and a lot of other kind of utilities and APIs which have to be built. And this is one of the reasons. So I heard recently that Block.one is making their own hardware wallet. So typically today, like Treasure or Ledger Nano, all those are designed for cryptocurrencies. That means you just hold your currency and never touch them. EOS is a utility token which you will use on a daily basis, or maybe you will stake them, unstake them. So you need a very different kind of hardware wallet for that. And I think that is one reason why Block.one is implementing their own hardware wallet. And when I say their own hardware wallet, I mean they're talking about actual hardware piece which can be used as hardware wallet, just like Ledger Nano and Treasure. I don't know how true this rumor is, but if they're doing that, it will be very exciting. While in early days we want to keep our EOS secure and just put it in Ledger Nano or Treasure, we do want a hardware wallet which can support all these different transactions like staking, unstaking, delegating, and so on. All right. What else, guys? Any other questions? Does Ethereum considered a security token? So Ethereum, by definition, was a security token, but it was an old ICO. I don't know. I mean, it's not my uh, decision to call it that. It's SEC, and they don't want to rock the boat right now. Ethereum is doing a lot of good in the world. They have one of the first blockchain projects, so we don't want SEC to come and declare Ethereum a security and the whole crypto market, which is already crashing. So if you see, let's refresh it. So yeah, a little bit recovered, but I think the whole market was had gone down. So I saw like 260, almost $260 billion market cap. And if any such news happens that Ethereum is declared security, we are all doomed for short term. This will crash even further. All right. What else, guys? What effect do you think EOS will have on Ethereum? I have covered it in another video. EOS can actually kill the complete Ethereum ecosystem because Ethereum has a lot of problems which EOS solves. I believe EOS can easily overtake Ethereum in market cap because of the utility, because of the way it is designed. Today, everything is going in together. If market is falling, EOS is also falling. So the ratios are being maintained. But in long run, if you see, like when the ICO was announced, EOS was way below. It was maybe less than 100 rank or more than 100 rank, whatever way you call it. And now EOS is in top 5. So over time, people will see the benefits of EOS. People will realize the potential, and slowly it will creep up. In short term, people are concerned. People are not understanding the democratic process. The voting is slow. This whole thing is taking longer than what some speculators expected, and that is causing some FUD. I would say this is actually good if you don't care about airdrops. If you are mainly focusing on the basic value of your token, it's a good opportunity to buy if you have not bought enough, because exchanges are allowing it. So even though I hate that exchanges are trading it, but because of all the FUD around it and because of the market conditions, because the exchanges are really allowing it right now, you may get an opportunity to buy it right now and get those EOS tokens which you missed out earlier. But once mainnet is announced, I would say it can take off. Of course, the crypto market doesn't go up just based on the utility of the tokens. Based on the utility of the tokens itself, most of these are actually already overly priced. There is no real utility of Bitcoin. There is no real utility of Ripple or Bitcoin Cash or anything. It's all a promise that someday the world will change and cryptos will become the base of the economic system, of blockchain will become the base of all other things. That's why Ethereum and Bitcoin are at such a high valuation. So that is still a speculation, I would say. So let's not talk about price. What I can say is, in relative terms, EOS is the project which can really change how blockchains work, and they are useful. And that the reason I keep going back to is you need to really read the white paper of EOS. You need to really understand how this works, and that will tell you that how it is different, how it can really make the real world use cases happen over blockchain. All right. So what else, guys? No other specific questions. Let me not keep asking, like answering about Ethereum. So I'm not going to speculate here. When will the price crash happens? What will happen? I believe you should not hold Ethereum for long term because Ethereum has a lot of problems. But remember, they have a great team. They have very good developers. So don't write them off completely. The only concern I have is that scalability. They are not really moving fast, and they are taking a very long time implementing some of these things they talked about, and that is something which will hit them. And when people realize the potential of EOS, they will really understand why there is no point in continuing with Ethereum. And that may take time because remember, we are still not on day one. We are still waiting for this vote. US mainnet is not live. So don't count your chickens right now. We are talking about this. US is not even started. So remember that before you start wondering about the future. There can be a lot of challenges. Okay, let me think about what can go wrong with yours. A lot of people are deciding not to vote. A big block producer like somebody like Bitfinex or Binance, they start controlling it. They start putting all their block producers, and these block producers can be changed anytime. Remember, all this right now, I'm happy that some of the best block producers are on the top. EOS New York, Canada, Canon, all these are very good producers. But that is because we didn't even have 10% votes. There are 90% votes which can still change anything, anytime. And even after this first set of block producers decided, every 2 minutes there will be a vote. And this is a continuous process. So anybody can change in future who is the block producer. And that is what can go wrong because even though it's designed to be democratic, it's designed to be protected by voting. There is a risk by these big exchanges, and hopefully once this big block producer come together, I'm hoping that they will change the rules. They will make sure that exchanges cannot vote. There has to be a mandatory proxy voting, just like in stock market. When you have your stocks with a particular broker, they cannot vote on your behalf when there is a board meeting or when there is a proposal by a company. They have to get a signature from you or a vote from you, and that is how the proxy vote is implemented. It's a very well defined process. There's nothing new to be done. EOS just has to absorb that process into the on-chain voter proposal, and I'm sure that will happen. So if you are worried about it in long run, I'm not that worried that it will be a problem. But in short term, everybody's watching how these big whales are going to behave in voting, and if they will try to sway the vote. Uh, at this moment, we are not seeing a lot of them. Only a few block producers are questionable. For example, as I showed you, ZBEOS, they only have one vote. They have, and which is the weight is so high that they are already number 31. These are the kind of things we believe are my concern, because they don't have we don't even know how they are. Like, they are just voting because they're an exchange and they don't own these tokens themselves. And similarly, I think we had concerns about some block producer named Bitmars or Fly to Mars. Thankfully, that is looking like we have gone down. Let me search them. They have gone down to 26, which is a good sign, because nobody knows about them. There's a very little information about them. And many more, I think, in this list will be questionable, because there's one more thing which maybe you are not aware, that every block producer has, before before they become official, they have to declare their ownership. They have to declare all this information publicly. Otherwise, they will get disqualified once the mainnet goes active. So there are a lot of things which are part of the constitution, which are part of the how EOS is going to be defined. So it is going to be a community-run process. So don't worry about it. It is almost like believing in democracy, and that's what matters, and that's how the EOS is designed. How much longer before the voting ends? I talked about it. My guess is if the big whales start voting, maybe in 24 hours. If not, if it is the same pace, maybe my worst case is 48 hours from now. So I'm sure within the next 2 days before the weekend starts, we will have a mainnet active. So that's what I have. And one more thing I would like you to look at is this connected user stat, which is continuously updated. Till yesterday, I was seeing this was below 500. Now, a lot more people are connected. That means there are a lot more activity happening on the chain every second or every instant. And that shows you that the voting has picked up and the percentages are going up faster. So, and of course, one big vote, as I showed you, this exchange ZB, I keep coming back to that because this is really happening right now. And that is my, even though it's a concern in short term, but I think this is also helping things to move because they made a huge chunk of vote, 1.41% votes in just one vote. All right, so I have last 5 minutes. If there are any questions, please go ahead and post it now. If I missed it, please repeat it, and I'll try to take them up. Again, on the basics, I just want to make sure everybody understands. If you have got part of the snapshot, if you have your private key secure, you are fine. Don't be in a hurry. Don't try to claim your tokens. Don't you own them if you own the private key. If you lose private key, no wallet will help you. And the second thing is that all the airdrops are coming on Genesis Snapshot. You will get it. Don't worry about it. Don't go start chasing them. There is no benefit of claiming them. Even if there is a claim process for any particular, for example, some of these are asking you to claim it. Like Eon is, I think, one thing which they ask to claim. Don't be in a hurry. You can claim it anytime you want. There is no reason for you to go and chase these airdrops unless you understand them properly, unless you understand what you're doing. Because there will be a lot of scammers. They will try to act as if they're trying to give you airdrops. They're trying to give you your mainnet tokens. And unless you go with some validated tools, validated community suggested tools, you can lose everything. You can lose all your tokens if you lose your private keys. So this is the most vulnerable point right now. Don't go and become greedy about these tokens. They have no value. Most of these are not going to be listed on exchanges for a very long time. So you're not gaining anything other than some junk in your wallets, which you're just going to see as a number of tokens. They have no value today. All these projects are not even started because mainnet is not started. And so remember, like for example, evolution airdrop or all those projects don't even exist, and I have lost hope in them. Even though we covered those airdrops, there's no harm in getting them as long as they are coming themselves. There's no harm in collecting these airdrops in your wallets, but don't be in a hurry. That's all I am saying. All right, guys. So what else? So I have last 2-3 minutes. I don't see any more questions. We have thanks again for your comments. If you really like our channel, so because of the market conditions, some of our team members have to take up some other jobs. So I've been doing it as a voluntary service. So please do contribute to our funds. We are planning to do a lot more updates, and these are some of the addresses. Like you can contribute Ethereum, Bitcoin, and PayPal. We are just dying to add EOS address here to accept donations in EOS because that is something which we all believe in. But today, unfortunately, the mainnet is not launched. So these are the only options we have available. So we appreciate whoever already contributed. And if you want us to continue working on it and to grow our coverage, do contribute here. And as you can imagine, we have been trading a lot of cryptocurrencies. Some of I'm doing it for my passion, but I'm trying to create some employment for a few people and to create this awareness campaign. And they were trying to make money out of trading and so on, but some of them have to drop out because of the market conditions, and we are relying on community support for keeping this service on. So again, thanks a lot for joining. If you have any questions, please do send us over the comments, and we will keep our EOS coverage. And as I mentioned before, our goal is to cover much wider cryptocurrency world. We believe that this is a great starting point in this new revolution, and all of us should actually participate in crypto investments. If not go all in, go in small amounts what you can afford. Market will be volatile. Don't worry about it in short term. Be ready to see even lower values on Bitcoin or rest of the market, because as I said so many times, it's a long term thing. Nothing is there is no easy way to value. what the market cap should be, what the price of a particular coin should be. But I think once the people start seeing value, once the real projects start coming, you will see a lot more traction and a lot more institutional interest and so on. One thing is sure, that institutional interest is coming. I have been talking about in our private groups, and I'm actually presenting to many locally in Silicon Valley. I have been involved with a lot of VCs. I have done a lot of recent talks with them, and people are really surprised the way the institutional money is coming, the way the whole new set of asset class is being created. So don't worry about this FUD around Bitcoin is dead with all this price correction in the market. There are huge money coming. There's a huge money which is lining up to invest into cryptocurrencies. And EOS is going to be top, I believe, once they start seeing the potential. It is still a promise. It is still at early stage. Institutional investors don't put money into promises. They put money into real projects. Today, EOS is not a real project. It is still in a very early stage. So you are at the ground floor. If you're investing in EOS right now, and if it realizes its potential, you will see that how it can really reward you. Just similar to what Ethereum was at start of 2017, EOS is actually right there. And in overall crypto world, I would say Bitcoin is going to be store of value, and we still believe in that, and it will recover over long term. So that's my view on overall market. I'm running out of time. Thanks again for joining, and we appreciate all your comments and all your love. Do spread the word. Please like the videos. And as I said, the way you can contribute is by contributing some funds for the team, which is really working hard here and supporting me in bringing this information together to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.